Okay, this is my second time making egusi soup, and let me tell y'all, it is not easy. From making the fufu to roasting the ingredients, blending, boiling down the meat for hours ahead of time, saving the broth in the stock. Let's just go ahead and get started. You get palm oil and you get it into a big pot. Once your oil is hot, you get your roasted veggie mix. It's called pepper mix. And you just cook that down. I personally love the pepper mix, so I add extra a lot in mine. And you basically want to see the color change. And this is the starting base for the stew. And don't be afraid to really get in there and mix it up. The palm oil is going to continue to rise even if you blend it up and mix it all together. So the main point is to make sure everything is getting cooked evenly and simmering down. You should notice the color getting darker. The smell should be changing. For the main seasoning of the dish, it's going to be ground crayfish. If you want this meal to be kosher, you can use the maggi cubes instead, or any type of chicken flavoring cubes, beef stock cubes, beef bouillon to replace the crayfish. The crayfish is what I feel like gives the egusi soup its distinct traditional flavor, so I'm not sure what it would taste like without using it, but I just wanted to throw that in there. After the palm oil rises, it's time to add in our egusi, which is just grounded up melon seeds. We mix it with water until we get like a peanut butter thickness. You get a spoon and then you just spoon it in there like dumplings, leaving enough space in between. You know that your oil is ready when it rises to the top and separates from the pepper mix. This is only my second time making it, so definitely let me know in the comments any tricks or tools or anything I should know about palm oil, egusi, and heat temperature. After about 20 minutes, I checked on my egusi. I didn't stir it at all, so I'm just checking for firmness. I don't want it to break up. I want it to stay clumped up as possible. And then we pour in gradually the beef stock, stirring it in. We really want it to emulsify with the stew base, so that's why we pour it in a little bit at a time, or you can end up with a watery egusi soup. The beef stock should have came from your boiled meat from earlier. Whatever meat of your choosing that you choose for this recipe, save that water because that is the stock that you're going to use. After letting that simmer down, we now add in our meats. I chose cow skin, beef tripe, and the bone-in beef chunks. I cooked some up yesterday when I did my first go around with the egusi soup. This is the meats that I had left over, so that's why it's all clumped up. And then I also boiled down some boneless beef chunks to add in as well. I tried to keep this recipe as traditional as possible, hence the cow skin and the beef tripe. Boiled stockfish is the most important ingredient of this recipe. It pairs very well with the crayfish and it gives the egusi soup its traditional, distinct flavor. Then you pretty much mix it up, but not too hard because you don't want to crush up all the egusi, and you just let it simmer down. You can add in more stock to get it to the consistency of your liking. Now it's time to add our veggies. We always add in the greens last just to keep them green. I chose frozen spinach for this recipe, but there are a variety of traditional greens that you can use for this recipe. I was almost tempted to use the bitter leaf, but I'm not sure how it tasted and I was afraid to experiment too much on my first and second try. After letting that simmer down, it is ready. Look at that. I know I was so happy when I finally finished cooking this. It took me about 6 hours, prep time included. I didn't get finished until 2 in the morning, but this lasted me a good 2 weeks. It's great for meal prep, prepping for the Sabbath with those kosher tips I added, and all of those greens in there. Perfect mix, perfect balance. Now that the Egusi soup is ready, we are ready for the hardest part, which is making the fufu. I bought this from a African international store. The cashier told me that this is the kind that they use in Nigeria, so that is the fufu that I chose, but I know that it should be pounded yam. The measurements for fufu are really simple. You just double the water for however much fufu that you used. I used a half a cup of fufu mix to make this, so I used 1 cup of water, and you just mix until you get that doughy, firm consistency. There are multiple techniques on how to stir fufu to get it to the right texture. I did my best. I know the main thing is to keep that eye on high, use boiling water, and get you a wooden spoon. Good luck. And now my favorite part, it is time to eat. I am so blessed to have this whole big old pot to myself. So as you can see, I am scooping out the meats. I am scooping out the parts that I like. I should have grabbed some of that Egusi. That is the star of the dish, but I am making sure I get all the little pieces of meat that I like. And there you have it, Egusi soup with fufu. This was so fun to make, and I tried my best to keep it as traditional as possible. Make sure you guys try all the varieties with the different meats. I was so hungry that I just started digging in at the end. It was so hot too, I could barely even bite into the meat. But thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.